right, guys. Well, from steaming hot Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast,
I'm Frank Feldman.
and I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on today's show, Dan, we're going to be talking about a doctor who's been touting hydrochloroquine as a cure for COVID and some of her crazy ideas. You've probably seen her and
You all know
been
Dr.
around.
Stella Emanuel at this
Yeah.
point. She's famous.
Yeah.
And hydroxychloroquine is literally the least kooky thing she does. That's the normal thing that she does.
So we're going to be talking about her and some of her quacky ideas.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, Dan,
Yeah, we got other shit to talk about.
we got other shit, and I want to start off with one that I was surprised that you hadn't heard about, because you're normally a big follower of the Satanic Temple.
Oh, I do enjoy the TST.
Yeah. Well, they had a big announcement this week, Dan. They have come out with a declaration that their satanic abortions are protected by religious liberty laws. Specifically, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act that they believe gives their members makes them exempt, rather, from unnecessary regulations that are often placed on women seeking abortions.
Now, they've tried this sort of before. They filed a lawsuit that failed on this front.
They are making it an actual ritual. They're making abortion a satanic or one of their religious rituals, right?
It is a rite. It is a sacrament.
So they actually spell out how the ritual works.
Nice.
They state very clearly that the ritual is not intended to convince anyone to have an abortion. Instead, it sanctifies the abortion process.
Love it.
By instilling confidence and protecting bodily rights when undergoing the safe and scientific procedure of abortion.
Yeah, because what failed about the lawsuit, like the lawsuit was their claim was it is our sincerely held religious belief,
Right.
that these women should be allowed to have the abortion without any interference.
Right.
Now they're making it a rite/ritual,
Exactly.
hoping that has a little bit more teeth to it.
Right.
Interesting.
So for a surgical abortion, they have spelled out the ritual and how it should be performed.
Okay.
So it says, prior to receiving any anesthetic or sedation, look at your reflection to be reminded of your personhood and your responsibility to yourself. Focus on your
Nice.
intent. Take deep breaths and make yourself comfortable. When you are ready, say the third tenet and the fifth tenet aloud. You may now undergo the surgery. After the surgery is completed and any anesthetic has worn off, return to your reflection and recite your personal affirmation. Feel doubts dissipating and your confidence growing as you have just undertaken a decision that affirms your autonomy and free will. The religious abortion ritual is now complete. And it's basically the same thing for a medical abortion, right? Where you're taking a pill, right?
Right. So the tenets described, one of them is the body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. What's the other one?
The fifth tenet, so that's the third tenet. The fifth tenet is beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should never take, or one should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs.
Great.
And then the personal affirmation is, my body, my blood, by my will, it is done.
Excellent.
So
that sounds Satan-y, but it's also like totally great.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And so they list these examples of requirements of that cannot be enforced on Satanists, right? So mandatory waiting periods to get an abortion,
Right.
Required reading materials, the requirement that practitioners withhold certain medical information, compulsory counseling prior to abortion, medically unnecessary sonograms, mandatory listening to the fetal heartbeat, and compulsory burial or cremation of fetal remains.
So now they just need to wait until a member has an abortion.
Yes.
And any of these asserted rights are infringed upon, and then they can sue again.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and for anybody who's not fully aware of like the Satanic Temple and what their whole thing is, like, they don't, like, they have kind of a Q&A that's attached to this, and it's like, do you believe, what do Satanists believe in, right? Do you worship Satan, right? It says no, nor do we believe in the existence of Satan or the supernatural. The Satanic Temple believes that religion can and should be divorced from superstition.
Yeah.
And what does Satan mean to the Satanic Temple? They say Satan is a symbol of the eternal rebel in opposition to arbitrary authority, forever defending personal sovereignty, even in the face of insurmountable odds.
Right.
So it's interesting, right? But the Satanic Temple has been recognized as a religious organization, right? They're up and running as a religious organization. So it's going to be a tough one for a judge to say, well, no, these are not sincerely held beliefs.
Yeah, right? Who knows what'll happen? 9 times out of 10, the judges just go, well, you're Satanists and I don't care what you think. So
right.
We'll see what happens, but I love that they're still pursuing it. I think that's amazing. Yeah,
and that they've come up with a different tact, right? They've come up with this way to make it even more integral to their religious, system or whatever.
Yup.
So yeah.
All right, there you go. Hey, I'm going to take us to my new favorite county in the entire United States, because I didn't know until this moment that it existed.
Oh.
That is in Florida, Manatee County, Florida.
Oh.
Which I did not. I just love that there's a Manatee County, Florida. I think everyone should name their counties after sea cows. Anyway, I don't know if you're aware of this. But Florida, they haven't done great with the whole COVID-19 thing.
No. I saw that interview with Donald Trump. They're doing great.
You'd think they're doing great. One of the reasons they're doing a little better is that there have been some mask mandates happening.
Okay.
Which is always a good thing when there's a pandemic. Well, it's not universally seen as a good thing. And there's a lawsuit coming out. State Representative Anthony Sabatini has announced that he is teaming up with the Reverend Joel Tillis to sue Manatee County over the mask mandate, claiming that it is an infringement. Oh no, sorry. Quote, it is a radical infringement of the reasonable and legitimate expectation of privacy and facial autonomy.
Facial autonomy. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My face, my choice.
Yeah.
They're
careful not to say bodily autonomy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. In addition to the medical privacy by forcing them to wear masks for the majority of the day. This was not, however, the only complaint. The pastor had a second issue that was very that made this a troubling thing for him, which is that masks make it harder to pray.
How?
I don't know. I think
could God not hear you through the mask?
Maybe God is doing a lot of lip reading, and He's very far away, and you can't hear it all.
I
But
know.
his hearing might be going, but his sight is still dead on.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, also, it's really infringing on his right to speak to his congregation. He feels like he can't do a good job, and the choir can't sing. It's just,
oh my God.
it's infringing on everything. It's almost like they shouldn't do church at all in person. But that's too much. That's crazy talk. So instead of that, they're just going to sue to make sure that everyone's allowed to endanger everybody else legally.
Here's what I think, Dan. And I'm going to take something that we were talking about before the show, and I'm going to apply it here.
Okay.
I think that churches need to innovate right now. And I think one of those innovations could be just placing people into like private tubes when they're inside the church, right? Like
There you go.
They can have their mask off, but they're in like a little private their own little cubby, right?
Everything vents outside.
Yes,
so.
yeah. Air comes in the bottom, or maybe from the top, blows out the bottom, just keep
I
it.
always like the phrase "blows out the bottom" when it comes to church, so that's always good. I'm on board. You've convinced me.
God,
Tubes.
God not being able to hear the prayers. Is that what we're
Yeah.
assuming it's all about? Because how do you not pray? How does it get? I don't understand how it gets in the way of prayer otherwise.
I think he's hoping nobody asks. I think this was just one of those. I mean, he might as well have written, "This is a disingenuous claim. Please ignore," because obviously that's the stupidest thought of all time. And if your God is literally impaired at all by masked praying, maybe you do not have as omnipotent a deity as you previously had
That's a
thought.
shitty God.
You got a bullshit God right there, my friend. That's a nasty, dumb God.
Well, all right, Dan.
Yeah.
Here's a story of some religious folk who are taking COVID very seriously. We talked about this earlier in the year that Hajj, the Islamic, or I'm sorry, Muslim
Pilgrimage. Yeah.
Annual pilgrimage to Mecca, and just all around kooky week of activities.
Normally drawing like 2 million people.
2 million Muslims normally make the pilgrimage, where they
Yearly,
get to throw it. Yeah, where they get to throw rocks at pillars and run around another rock, probably a meteorite. 2 million is the normal number.
Right.
Did you hear how many showed up this year?
Well, I know we had talked about the fact that it was they were specifically limiting it to invited audience only. So no, I have no idea how few that is.
1,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it was by permit only. Apparently, they were going to allow up to 10,000. There just was no interest. Nobody wanted to go to this thing this year. But
I'm proud of the Muslims. Well done.
But 1,000 of them showed up, and Dan, you know the whole when they're making the big walking around the Kaaba. That's the big black box in the middle of an arena, essentially, at this point.
And they got to go like 7 times around or something like that.
Counterclockwise, right? It's very specific.
Yeah.
All these things. So they painted like color-coded lines, concentric circles, right? Okay. Around the Kaaba. And apparently they must have, while people were walking in, given them a correspondingly colored umbrella that would put them onto which circle they were allowed to walk on.
I see.
And then they the lines themselves, or the circles rather, were very well spaced, and then the people with their umbrellas were also socially distanced. as they walked around. Dan, it looks like a giant musical number is about to break out, right? Like
Hajj is just it's a flash mob.
Yeah,
is
because
what it is.
Why else would there be people in color-coded umbrellas and there's like a black ring and a yellow ring and a green ring and so forth and so on. I'll bet all the colors, right? I
just pulled up a picture of it. It's very funny.
It's funny, but it's also kind of interesting to look at. The pictures from around Mecca this year are stunning. Like normally, like there's like these. They've built all this infrastructure just to handle these 2 million pilgrims every year, right? So there's overpasses and there's massive like flyover walkways that are pedestrian walkways that just to move mass amounts of numbers of people around, and it's just a ghost town. There's nobody anywhere. I mean, the article that I read was really talking about the economic hit that the merchants of Mecca are
that's got to be
undergoing at the moment.
Tragic.
But I was far more interested in the pictures and just sort of this idea of something that is normally just this massive effort by the Saudi government to manage and to keep people safe and both and provide medical services.
Right.
The part of the article talked about the local doctors who are normally sort of having to do like, double and triple long amounts of time for their shifts as they would normally do. They're like just they're not even being called up to duty this year.
Yeah, because at least once a decade, there's a stampede. Like it's... They need, right. and plus it's in the middle. It's the heat, and not everybody can get food and water when they need it and stuff. Right. So,
but you can't have 2 million people congregated anywhere without there being heart attacks, without there being strokes, without there being trips and falls and whatever. Right? Like
even without throwing rocks and walking in circles.
It's just 2 million. Think about 2 million people. That's a city, right?
Yeah.
And so there are deaths during Hajj normally, but not for any reason other than just somebody died. And so this year 1,000 people.
Wow.
They basically only had 2 hotels open, and they were completely distancing everyone.
I think you need to open all the hotels and everybody gets their own hotel.
Or 1 floor per person, type thing.
Right, yeah.
Huh.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I just thought it was great. Hajj ended this last weekend, so we actually finally kind of have numbers and a sense of like what happened. But yeah, I mean, you said it earlier. Kudos to the Muslims, really, on this for taking it seriously. And
like taking the hard choice and like taking one of the 7 pillars of their religion and saying, not this year.
Yeah. I think it's 5.
Sorry about it.
I think it's 5 pillars.
Okay, whatever it is.
Or is it 4?
Anyway, one of the pillars, one of the central... it's pretty important, is what I'm getting at.
8, maybe?
And anyway, there they go. They're actually... if God can't understand... When the people have to modify their lives when he sends a damn plague, then fuck again. We got another shitty God if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Muslim God is okay.
Yeah, sounds like Allah gets it. So that's nice. All right. Well, I'm going to take us to the Vatican, where an article came out recently in a Jesuit magazine.
Oh.
Which has been decried by a bunch of nuns. Now, here's what's interesting about this. These nuns have said that this article is an attempt by the church to silence their voices, to silence nuns' voices, because as we've reported a few times recently, nuns are finally starting to speak out about sexual abuse from priests towards the nuns. And so there's this article that has come out that that at least one of the former head of a Vatican magazine for the ladies, which is Donne Chiesa Mondo, Women Church World.
It's great. I love their recipe section.
Oh my God, it's so good. Did you try that tiramisu? Because that was a knockout.
No.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
Anyway, also they got lovely patterns for making your own wimple. So apparently Lucetta Scarafia wrote that she thinks that there might be a revolt among the religious sisters because of this new article. So what does the new article say that they're accusing of trying to silence women? It says that nuns are in danger. But it's a different kind of danger, and it's about nuns exploiting other nuns. So either way you look at it, no matter how you look at it, it ain't great to be a nun right now.
Wow. I thought they were just like going to turn them into a silent order or something.
Right? Well,
so
here's
you got
what's
something
interesting.
to say, sister?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys don't talk no
Vow
more.
of silence, lady.
I'm afraid. No. No, you know those kinds of nuns what don't say nothing? You're that now. That's who you are.
Oh, you're going to write it down?
Nope, you don't do that no more neither.
There's a no writing order as well.
Yeah, you take a vow of poverty and give me back that pencil. Anyway, so this article may be talking about a very real problem. The problem it's talking about is Mother Superior actually taking advantage of young nuns and holding them in what is basically captivity.
Oh, God.
Talking about transferring nuns from other parts of the world to, especially to Italian orders, where they don't even speak Italian, so they can do nothing. They can't, they can't even order food.
It is almost like a gag order.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But this is about calling out Mothers Superior as opposed to priests, which is amazing.
So just systemic abuse of power. Is what we're
specifically
actually
of nuns.
No,
Specifically
I mean,
because
the Catholic Church, right?
Yeah,
is a church
right.
that is the structures of it are just ready for people to abuse the power structures.
Oh, right.
That exist
Absolutely.
already. Wow. Well, I mean, when you think about it, it is sort of a perfect storm for people abusing power, right?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean,
Living in a religious order, right?
Yeah, a nun gives up everything about her own self, her personality. Like she makes that choice and says, "Okay, church, do with me as you want." And the church goes, "Okay, I'm going to do that."
Yeah.
It's just not what they expected.
Yeah. But I mean, getting to go live in Italy, that's not bad. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's
great.
that.
You know,
There's
you say
that.
they can't even ask for food. I mean, you'll learn some staple words really, really quickly. You know, cibo,
Ragu. That's all you got to know.
Cibo,
Yeah.
Cibo. Food.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Food. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
This is an interesting story. It is the story of a man in Alabama who's both.
That's never a good start.
who is both a Southern Baptist pastor and a Republican state representative for a
Yeah, I think they're
rural-
all required to be pastors there.
Well, he's a young guy actually. Like, there's a picture in the article of him, and I was a little kind of taken aback because he just looks like a millennial kid, really. But he's both a pastor and a member of this state house.
Right.
But anyway, he has gotten himself in a little bit of hot water. He posted on Facebook the same day that John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, who just passed away,
Right.
when his body was making its final crossing over the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma.
Sure.
Right. So kind of an important day, right?
Right. A day for the African American community of our country.
Yes. An important day definitely an important day for the African American community, an important day for everyone who, cares about civil rights in this country.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it might also be an opportune day for, people of conscience and maybe elected officials to say something nice. Right.
Sure.
This young man, what did I say his name was? Will Dismucus.
Okay. Don't just make up names for people. That's not nice.
Well, it's either Dismukes or Dismucus. I'm going with Dismucus.
Yeah, I think if this
sounds like
goes
something
where
you
I'm
do when you
anticipating
cough.
it going, mucus is probably correct.
Dismucus. You demucus something.
Yeah.
Anywho, he posted on Facebook, had a great time at Fort Dixie. Okay. Speaking and giving the invocation for Nathan Bedford Forrest annual birthday celebration.
Oh my God.
Always a great time and some sure enough good eating. Now, you may not know this name.
I know that name.
Well,
holy shit.
For listeners
Tell
who
the people.
don't know, it's actually General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was a Confederate general.
Yeah.
And who kind of his great claim to fame, aside from being the first, what do you call him, Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He also is known for his role at the Battle of Fort Pillow, which don't let the name fool you.
It was definitely the cutest battle of the entire war.
No, it was not.
Okay.
So following the Union's surrender, his troops massacred black soldiers. Union
Cute.
soldiers. And of course, then he joined up with the Ku Klux Klan. So kind of not a great character.
No.
But one that is
like we're in a moment
celebrated in white Southern history. White Southerners like this guy.
Well, except that we're in a moment right now where statues of him are coming down all over the place.
Yeah, but the white, Southern
but the white
racists
Southerners
still love the guy.
The racists are pretty happy about him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
why not? Anyway, guess what happened after he did this? After he posted this? Aside from the fact that it got quickly taken down.
I mean, there was clearly going to be outrage and some much quieter approval.
Yeah, well, the outrage led to him meeting with a group of Alabama Southern Baptists, and the following day, he resigned from his position as pastor.
Wow.
He has yet to resign from the state legislature, which is actually telling to me. Right.
That's something, man.
Yeah.
Is the church actually doing better than the state legislature?
Well, apparently the Alabama Baptist Congress, something or other, apparently Alabama Baptist State Convention and the State Board of Missions has basically affirmed a stance by their executive director, who issued a personal credo saying that he was opposed to racism. So they're taking an anti-racism and anti-racist stance as Baptists in Alabama. I don't know how well that's going to work out for them. I mean, I don't want to.
Pretty proud of them.
Yeah.
Props to that.
When your members are a bunch of racists, and I know, I'm painting Alabama Baptists with a broad stroke here.
Yeah.
But I mean, isn't it fairly predictable?
Well, at least traditionally, one has certain expectations.
It's one of their most honored traditions, right?
Yeah. Well,
internally,
I'm impressed. You know what? I'm always open to people changing their tune, and if this guy gets kicked out for being a dickhead, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Go find yourself an even more racist sect to be a part of. Well, speaking of Confederate heroes, I don't know if you know this. In point of fact, I do know that you do know this. But the U.S. Capitol, there in Washington D.C., houses a collection of statues. They call it Statuary Hall.
Yes,
and it includes 100 prominent people. So each state sends two statues. Each state has two statues representing their state.
It's an incredible and fine tradition, and it's always every single person in the Hall of Statues is just sort of the apex American, right? Like just the exactly who we should be honoring. That's always it has always been the case. Clearly.
Right? Yeah, exactly. North Carolina.
Well, except for North Carolina,
has not held to that tradition quite as. I mean, Utah's one for the longest time was just the guy that invented TV. So I don't know.
And Brigham Young.
And Brigham fucking Young.
And we dropped Philo T. Farnsworth. For the first. What was it?
State senator,
first
female
state senator. That's what it was. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Martha Cannon, I love her.
Yeah, Martha Hughes Cannon. Is that the name?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the ones that North Carolina had there was a fella called Charles Aycock, which
Charles
Aycock. He was a former governor of North Carolina, but also one of the masterminds of what is known as the Wilmington Race Riot.
God.
And there was a coup, and here's what happened. A local government was made up of Black Americans.
Yeah.
In 1898, because it was mostly black folks there, and they elected a government the way America is supposed to work, and then these dickheads stepped in and overthrew them and replaced them with white officials. So that's cute, and not at all. It's just not an awesome thing. And in this time of taking down statues of horrible, awful racists, the good news is he's coming down.
Woo!
So yay! The less good news is that the person going up in his place is one Reverend Billy Graham.
Boo!
So there you go. Sort of. Yeah, I mean, he's a religious icon.
Yeah.
He met the Queen. So I guess
there's a whole episode of The Crown, that explores sort of her fascination with Billy Graham.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, no word yet as to what will happen with North Carolina's other statue, who is
maybe not as problematic.
No, a Confederate military officer.
Oh no!
He was a former governor and U.S. senator, but before that, he was a Confederate officer, a man who is, I gotta say, he might need to stay up just for the name. His name was Zebulon Vance, which, if that's not a villain in a Philip K. Dick book, I don't know who is. But there you go. Zebby's still standing. but soon Reverend Graham will be daddy of Franklin. Will be up there. Meanwhile, his son just had his picture posted on a boat, holding a drink, standing next to a scantily clad young woman with his, and I promise this is true, fly open. Meaning not even buttoned, not unzipped, just open.
Wait. So it's not like he just forgot to zip up.
No,
after the bathroom, which happens.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like he might be wearing a swimsuit underneath or something. Anyway, it all feels a little sketchy, and I'm sure Reverend Billy would be a little worried about it. But he's dead now, and he gets to have his statue up in the place.
He's only a couple years dead too.
I know, but there you go. Ugh. Hopefully, when I die, somebody will make a statue of me.
Probably not.
Let's start a fund, you guys.
Just judging by so far,
you gotta
do a little bit more than what you've been doing to get a statue.
How dare you? I'm putting the call out. Community listeners, you know you want to do it. Let's start the GoFundMe right now.
Nope.
We'll get the statue of Dan done. It'll be 2 feet tall. Anyway, if you want to write into me and tell me how much you want to be the spearheader of that endeavor, please feel free to do so. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click the like button, see what happens. Magic.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Also find us on Twitter at TGIA Atheist.
Yeah.
More show coming up.
Tally-ho!
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
This is unfortunately Scott Lively has been coming up too much on the show lately.
But he's got so many fun things to say.
You know, there are those of these crazies, right? That I enjoy watching, right? Because they're just kooky and weird and whatever. And then there's other ones that are like absolutely hateful and my skin crawls, like that silver-haired guy who with the superior attitude. What's his name? I always forget his name.
All of them? Is it his name? All of them?
And then there's this guy, right, who's just so dopey, right?
Yeah. And crazed.
Yeah.
And
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so he's about to talk to us about he's got a new theory. It's a delightful conspiracy theory. And it is apparently happening in all of the big cities, or at very least the ones that are having a lot of protests,
right.
And clashes with the police.
Well, and I'm pretty sure he's thinking it up on the spot too. Right. Like,
and the machinations that he goes through, the weaving in and out of what could possibly even be a part of reality, and also sort of the known patterns of different groups. It's amazing, and then his conclusion's brilliant. Let's just play it.
Why are the Democrats burning down their own cities? What they're doing is they're setting up a scenario in which they've agitated and inflamed the black community, and then pitted them against the police, so that they can blame the blacks for the collapse of the cities, and they can discredit the police. So it's easy to justify not paying them these exorbitant pensions that they've been negotiating. These are unfunded mandates. Right. These are the police have always gone along with the Democrat bond issues and all the different revenue increases, tax increases and everything, because they were bought off with promises of ever more exorbitant amounts of pension money in their future pensions. But they're not paid for. They've always been unfunded mandates that were just going to be pushed down the road. Now they've reached a place where the income that they have to pay even for the infrastructure they already have has now been diminished, and they're scrambling, right? They're scrambling, and they know they're going to take the white liberals who run this system are going to take the blame unless they can shift it onto somebody else, and that's what they're doing. They're going to shift the blame onto the blacks, right? Because they're the ones that are on camera all the time, burning down a small percentage of the black community, right? This is by no means a majority of blacks. There's a small percentage, but blacks are all collectively going to be taking responsibility and blame for the meltdown of the cities, which is inevitable at this point. And the police are being delegitimized because there's no possible way they're going to be able to pay their pensions. And this way, at least they might even come out at some point and say that we're going to remove the pension obligations. We don't consider ourselves obligated to pay the pensions of these police departments because they're systemically racists. And they're the ones that caused the black community to rise up in rebellion against them, right? This is all a setup. And so I think this is happening both at the state. And so if you're living in one of those places, if you're a conservative, if you're a Christian living in any of those places, get the heck out of there before it all collapses. Because even if Trump gets elected, right, there's the worst chaos that is going to take place in the Democrat-controlled population centers.
You know, Frank, how Democrats are always trying to blame the black people for the collapse of the institutions. You know how the Democrats are always doing that?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just part of my my daily, my little affirmations that I say to myself. I will blame the African American community. I will.
When we get the emails from the Democratic Party that are always like, "Hey, let's make sure that we blame the black community for everything."
Shh, you aren't supposed to talk about that.
Oh crap! I mean, no, we don't do that.
I don't even know what he's really talking about here. I don't even know what.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about because like the white liberals who live in cities have set up something that is unsustainable, right? According to him, and is about to collapse. And we've all realized, oh my God, our cities are about to collapse because we funded them so poorly and this and that. It just doesn't work, right? Like it doesn't make sense.
I love that his idea is that the Democrats, what he's doing is he's totally blowing what the party line is supposed to be about Democrats, which is that they're going to tax us into oblivion to pay for everything.
Right.
And these guys, and he's saying, oh no, the Democrats are just going to welch on the deal.
Right.
And blame the blacks.
Right.
Oh my God. And then the conclusion, which is, if you live in a city, get out. They're going to collapse. Yeah, I think that's probably likely. The cities are going to collapse.
Cities are the only semi-reasonable governments at this point in our country.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. Anyway, hey, we had some of our sane listeners writing into us.
Indeed,
and I wanted to get to that. Hello, I'm a new listener. This is unsigned. There's something I'm wondering about the new episode. This was our most recent episode. You mentioned a study regarding atheists and expressing emotions.
Yeah.
Could you, and so this person asks, could gender be a confounding factor? As I understand it, men are somewhat statistically more likely to be atheists, while women are somewhat more likely to be religious. Women are socialized to be more emotionally expressive, while men are socialized to suppress their emotions. 15 atheists isn't a lot. Perhaps the gender or perceived gender of the students could be swaying the effects. So I think that's interesting. I actually don't have the study here with me, but I do think that that's an interesting question.
Right.
I think that there's something fascinating. I think there are a lot of factors that could play into it. You and I just sort of guessed at some of the things that might play into that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking up this idea that maybe there are more atheist men than there are atheist women.
I've seen that statistic. I've seen, or more people self-identify. More men self-identify with the word atheist than women.
I mean, I don't know. Huh.
And while you're thinking about that, Bonnie also wrote into us and said, I could be entirely wrong, but the study you discussed seems to make a bit more sense when viewed from a psychological perspective. I seem to recall another study that proposed or concluded that certain minds are more inclined toward religious thinking. I wouldn't pretend to be well informed on the study, but wouldn't it make sense that the psychology behind the mindset of the disinclined might also result in some emotional reservation? Possible.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Okay, so this one is from Jake in Tucson. Frank and Dan, I just sent a one-time donation so that you can have a drink. Compliments of my wife and I, so we can all celebrate our official resignation from the LDS Church.
Woo!
Tally ho, that's great. It only took 4 letters over 2 months, but from the lawyers at quitmormon.org to get it done, but it's official.
Yay, congratulations.
And by the way, if you want to quit Mormonism, quitmormon.org is a fantastic resource.
Yeah. Because it's not just as simple as saying, hey, I don't want to be a part of your church anymore. You would think that's all it would take, right?
Yeah.
But the Mormons are like, no, you can't just do that. You have to go through our
there
process.
You go.
We have a process. We want to
4 letters.
We want to excommunicate you instead.
Yeah, or something.
Anyway.
Jake goes on, I've already been beatified and just barely got rid of the Mormon priesthood, but one day I'll kick over enough to become the Lord and Savior. Well, that is a tall order, Jacob, but I am down for it. In the meantime, he says, I might need to let a few people in Brazil know that I wasn't quite spot on with my message a few decades ago.
Oh, yeah.
And is there any way to get a refund from 4 years at BYU, since it was the New Testament class my senior year that finally made me throw my hands up and say, fuck this, and leave without graduating?
No.
I'll have to do some checking.
Oh, God.
See if you can get those credits transferred somewhere, Jakes, and then then get your degree from somewhere else.
Yeah,
but yes,
but
thank you so much for your
transfer.
Right. But do what you can. Anyway, thank you so much for the letter and for the money. We will have a drink on you. We also had someone write into us from Norway. Now we've been talking the last couple. There's been a back and forth about the gender neutral pronouns.
Oh yeah.
And we last week, you'll recall, we had someone write in from Sweden talking about the gender-neutral pronoun that they've come up with. Well, this comes to us from Greybeard and Vilja. So greetings from fellow godless bastards. The Norwegians who listen to your show every morning say that. Let's see. Oh, wait. Sorry. This is Greybeard and Vilja, the Norwegians who listen to your show every morning on Vilja's way to school.
Nice.
Hi, guys. Gustav listened to 382 and informed you of when Sweden invented hen as a gender-neutral pronoun. Norwegians are maybe more secular than Swedes, but still made fun of the PC Swedes, and all of our newspapers wrote articles about the Swedish hen, and we all laughed for 7 minutes. Then for 7 minutes we tried it, pondered it, and thought about it, and then we followed them.
Oh, wow.
Now, hen is a functioning gender-neutral pronoun here.
Really?
But we still hate they as a gender-neutral pronoun.
Yeah.
It messes up our grammar-focused minds when trying to write/speak English. So, there you go. Congratulations, apparently, to most of Scandinavia. I don't know. There may be some Scandinavian countries that aren't doing so well, but the gender-neutral craze seems to be sweeping the land. So that's great. So yes, thank you. Do we have some folks to thank other than the handsome Jake?
We do indeed, Dan. We have a handful of new patrons this week. These are people who went to thankgodimatheist.com and clicked on the support tab and followed it on over to Patreon. You can also go to PayPal. That's an option as well.
Sure.
But these are they who signed up. We have 2 new deacons. We have Daniel and Ryan.
Oh.
Thank you guys so much. We also
Awesome.
have a new teacher by the name of Rocky. Welcome, Rocky.
Excellent.
And we have a new priest by the name of Audrey. A priestess,
Nice.
perhaps.
Indeed.
Well, I guess let's
Indeed.
be gender neutral. So,
Yeah. Just a priest.
yeah, except that's male. How do you...
Says
we have
you.
a problem here.
No, we're just our priests can be anything.
But thank you guys for signing up. We sure do appreciate you. You all are now holders of the Aaronic priesthood.
Yeah.
And
Which is the greatest honor that we could bestow upon you until you bump up your pledge and then you get to have the Melchizedek priesthood. But it's really all great. And we thank you so much. Like you said, Frank, thankgodimatheist.com. It's super easy. Go sign up and show us how much you love us.
and as always, Dan, we
Because
have our top...
love is communicated through money. That's how that works.
And as always, we have our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
Davis! Amazing. Well, more to come. Hey, Frank.
Dan.
Did you watch the crazy video in which rising superstar Dr. Stella Emanuel decided to declare that hydroxychloroquine is it will cure you of your COVID-19?
Yeah.
She's a superstar now. She's the biggest thing that's happened since Trump stopped letting Fauci use words. So,
Well, and really, she was propelled to prominence thanks to Donald Trump.
Thanks to the Donald who retweeted her and a few other people.
Yeah.
She's part of a group calling themselves Firepower Ministries, and she is a doctor. We'll see how long that lasts. Anyway, she came out with this whole thing. But the thing that immediately followed this video was everybody fact checking her and going back and checking in on other stuff that she's posted in the world. And quickly they discovered that she is a minister and an African Pentecostal minister, probably, who is who has some wacky beliefs. That's what we're getting at here. She has preached about gynecological problems being caused by sleepy time sex with demons and medicines containing alien DNA and all kinds of crazy looniness that I think even most American Christians would be extremely uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with that. People been sharing her shit. Even after they learned about all of the wacky-do stuff,
Right.
she's still getting shared all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, they're just a frenzy of her. So why? Why? I mean, everybody can see that she's a nut job.
Right. Well, do you know what I have a reason why they agree with her.
Hit me, baby.
Because they agree with that one thing she said. Right? They want more. They like the idea of hydroxychloroquine for whatever reason, right? They've bought into it
because they were told that that's what their side believes in.
And so all it takes is somebody saying, yeah, hydroxychloroquine A+, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, and that's all anybody is going to pay any attention to. She's a doctor.
She's a medical doctor,
enough.
and she likes that drug.
Yeah.
She agrees with Donald Trump that drug is a miracle
And then
drug.
they have to hold their nose, right, as they look at everything else that she believes. And they don't, and people don't seem to be too bothered by this, right? That like that this person is clearly not a reliable source of information, right? So why you're just picking and choosing the one thing that you want to agree with her on.
And then you're
the
amazing
hold her
thing
up,
to
the rest
me
of her
is
up. It's like whatever.
like if she okay, you can come to me and say this is a doctor and they're Christian and they have some crazy beliefs, and as long as those beliefs are completely separated from their medical practice,
Okay.
I can actually maybe go with you down that road. But she doesn't. She's talking about the cause of medical problems are demons.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a medical doctor who has been trained in modern medicine and you're still saying shit like that,
Yeah.
we have a big problem. You are not a credible doctor at that point. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
you might as well be, bloodletting to get, to rebalance the humors,
yeah. At this point, exactly. Why aren't you talking about yellow bile right now? Because it doesn't make any sense to believe a person who has a belief system that negates the very science that they are supposed to be practicing.
Yeah.
And that's what's wonky about this whole thing. It's funny because, like I say, even having the wackadoo beliefs isn't quite enough for me to dismiss a person. But when they invade the zone that I'm supposed to believe them on,
Yeah.
you've lost me.
Here's the deal, Dan. You're at your doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Who's
Okay.
been great. Like she's been helping you out with your allergies. And you got that thing that's that joint that's kind of weird, and she's been helping you out a little bit there or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
When you get sick, you go talk to her, and never once has she ever suggested that your allergies are due to some demon having sex with
with me when
exactly,
I'm asleep.
right? That's never come up.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you go in for, I don't know, you're having headaches or something, right? And she's like, I know what this is. This is demons.
She gives me the demon thing.
Like,
I fucking walk out of the room and and like I'm literally on my phone looking up the medical board.
But do you think that that's what this doctor is doing? Do you think that's what Stella Emanuel does during her practice of medicine? She's crossing the line. Is that been established?
Well, here's the thing. There was an interview with her, with some Texas TV station or something,
Yeah.
and it sounds like she's now she's hit it big. She's gone viral. The crazies are coming out of the woodwork and contacting her, or at least that's what she's claiming, and I don't doubt it. And they're contacting her specifically because she's going to tell them about the demons inside of them.
Oh, wow.
So I think that may be where her practice is going.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, man. If somebody said some crazy shit like that to me, I would be immediately contacting whatever licensing board it is that's in charge of letting them have a license.
So here's the deal.
You've
been there. All this stuff about allergies and everything, and they actually maybe handled the headache question medically and soundly, right? But then you find your doctor online, right? Saying crazy shit like this. But they've always been great with you. They've never crossed the line. You actually feel like they've got a great demeanor. They're respectful. You connect with them on that personal level that's important with your doctor, right?
Sure.
And you're just like, what in the fuck? Like, but specifically think like they go online, they start talking about allergies being caused by demons, but they prescribed you some Allegra D, you
right.
know, they did what they were supposed to do in the doctor's office, but they go online and they say something crazy.
Yeah, I would never go to that person again.
Go, huh?
100%. Would you?
Probably not. No, but it makes me wonder. Like, should we be giving our doctors questionnaires?
I almost think so. I'm very close to that at this point. Because, we used to say, brain surgeon used to be a stand-in, a synecdoche for smart person.
Right.
Like, it's not brain surgery means that it's not as hard as the hardest thing in the world
right.
or whatever. And then, what's his name? Brain surgeon,
Ben Carson.
Sleepy, Ben Carson comes on the scene, and it's like, oh, yeah, you can be really dumb and be one of those. That's interesting. I think
Wasn't
the point
he
is...
actually, though, like a really good doctor? Like...
Oh, yeah, I think, by all accounts, he's an excellent brain surgeon.
But you still wouldn't have your brain...
I don't know.
Operated on.
The truth is, what does matter to me about a doctor is their doctoring.
Yeah. It's their track record.
But yeah, if they've got
right, but like if they're the best brain surgeon around, and they're specialized in that thing that you need to have taken out,
yeah.
But they're a nutcase, otherwise.
I would have questions. I would ask them very specific questions. I would say, is there ever a thing that you would ever a time when you're in the surgery that you would subvert
where
your
you hear voices?
Yeah, exactly. Or would you ever subvert your medical training for your theological training while I'm on the slab? Can I request that that's not an option, please? You can feel free to pray for me all you want, but you have to promise me you will only use science when you're operating on me.
Okay, here's a good one then, Dan. So the doctor has some things that he likes to pray in the operating room beforehand.
Yes.
How does that make you feel? Let's say.
It makes me uncomfortable. Not for myself, because I don't give a fuck, but like the other people in the operating theater, I feel like they would. It's a bullshit thing to do at a workplace. That's my objection to that.
But
it's not about.
You wouldn't be like.
It's not about the quality of the work.
Please don't pray before my operation.
No, I don't care about that.
Quite honestly, I want them in the best headspace possible. Like if they think that prayer helps them, like okay, fucking have a prayer. Like I don't want you thinking that you're doing this without your special help, right? Like I want you having all the help.
I don't want to get the yips. Don't get the yips on me, Doc. You got to do whatever you got to do. Do your whole lineup of things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically a short meditation, right? So great, go ahead. Whatever you got to do.
Likes to hop around on one leg,
and play Zeppelin or whatever. It's all fine with me as long as it leads to a better medical outcome. But yeah, when it comes to, I believe that, if it we're not mostly talking about major surgery, but if a doctor believes that certain ailments are caused by demons, then I don't feel like they're going to be committed to the medical treatment of that because they believe that the correct treatment is spiritual.
Right.
And they're just going through the motions of the medical part. So no, fuck no. I am not going to go see a doctor who has that kind of who's messed up in that way.
We've found that like chanting and prayer and fasting, that's really good for allergies. But sometimes Allegra D works too.
Right,
So-
exactly. We sometimes, I mean, if you're not going to be faithful enough to do the real thing, I guess you could take a pill.
Thank you,
but,
doctor.
But what we really want you to do is sing 12 hymns and never masturbate again, and it'll all go away.
And call me in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, kids, if you guys have anything that you where do you draw the line with your doctor? That's a question. Do you feel comfortable? At what point does it become uncomfortable enough that you would not go to a specific doctor? You can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, hey, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Those of you who still do Facebook. I know that doesn't apply to any of you Zoomers, but anyway, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click the like button. You'll enjoy it.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group. We will let you in. Also find us on Twitter @TGIAtheist.
Yep. Speaking of the social media, thanks so much to all of our new friends who are helping out in the Members Only Lounge. That's amazing.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Bye-bye.